Good evening. Seniors, I know you can talk louder than that. Good evening, seniors. Man, it's a hard audience. Well, welcome to our senior parent night. We have a wonderful turnout. I'm so excited to be even at this point in the school year. It really has gone by so quickly. The students are ready, teachers are ready. They've been working so hard. You all will be very proud of your seniors and everything that they've endured during this time. And here we are, about 3 weeks out, and we're here. We visited senior classes today just to talk about some of the expectations. And we met with our faculty and staff this morning, so everyone is here. We're on the same page. We're talking about grades and everything that's due right now, because they'll start their exams on the 11th. So it's right here, right around the corner, and their last day should be on May the 16th. So we've asked our teachers to not accept any work beyond May 17th, because technically that next week after testing, they should be off, like chilling, getting ready for graduation, just relaxing. And so that's the plan. However, if they have things to do, then that next week before graduation will be their time to complete those items. So we just wanted to bring you all here so we can talk about the actual ceremony, the preparation, coming to school and getting ready. And so everyone would be here and have some references as to what to expect on that day. So at any point, if y'all have questions, just let me know. We're going to record this, so if you want to refer to it later, then you certainly can. But this has been the busiest year, I think, that we've seen as far as the productivity of our seniors. We put some special things in place this year just to make sure that that actual graduation ceremony experience would be an authentic one. So this year, if you had not met the majority of your requirements, or basically all of those requirements, right, then you weren't able to walk across the stage this year. So that's the first time that we've done that. Every high school in the district has implemented that process too. And just because if you hadn't met those requirements, it really wasn't a genuine experience. But we know, we're looking at all of that individually. Today would not be that day that you would ask us those individual questions, but certainly would make an appointment with admin as well as Ms. Knight so that you can ask those very individual questions, because every student literally is different. And we've had an influx of opportunities for students to be able to meet those requirements. In fact, this week, the state has met and they are looking to change some of those concordant scores. And concordant means that you can take the ACT or the SAT and meet that minimum score to meet our graduation requirements. So this week, literally the state has come up with different numbers so that we can give students additional opportunities and hopefully making that qualifying score. But it's still in legislation right now. So we're we're giving students a PERT test tomorrow for math requirements. That's an additional test that we didn't have before. And then they're also able to participate in the new math test for the algebra, because we had a new set of standards. Our seniors can participate in that as well. And then they're also allowing them to take the new FSA or the FAST test, which they said at the beginning of the year they weren't going to be able to do. So literally we have new options that we were given this week. So when we met with our English classes today, we informed the students what those opportunities were going to look like. And so we should get those results in ample time to be able to notify everyone. We're still waiting on the ACT non-reportable that we took on April the 5th. So there are just so many things that we're waiting on, including the retakes that we took this year. We still haven't gotten those back from the state. So it's really hard when you're a senior and you're waiting on all of those things. And so we are emphasizing to our underclassmen, like, let's not wait until we get to this point to make sure that's done, because it is really nerve-wracking. You all feel it, we feel it. We're just as anxious. We want it, so bad for our seniors to be able to have that authentic experience. And I feel really good about the opportunities that we will have. They've given us a preview of what that would look like with those new scores, and a lot of our kids will get it. So I have no doubt that they'll do it. It's just the timing that they'll make that decision. We're just waiting, and we just don't have any control over that timeline. So as soon as we know, you all will know, and certainly will notify the students. So this year, thank goodness, we don't have the first graduation. Last year, I think the sky fell out, and it was literally super hard for us to get there. But what we do is we meet at the school before graduation. Everyone meets at the school. We take all the students on the bus so that we can make sure every student gets there. They don't have to come back with us. You all can bring them back home from the Pensacola Bay Center, but they have to go with us on the bus to the graduation in order to participate. So on May 25th is when we'll have graduation, and that will start promptly at 2:30. We will meet here at the school at 10:30, not 10:45, not 11 o'clock. We'll meet here at 10:30. So students will have assigned room areas, and we will have assigned teachers to those rooms to make sure that you're groomed, you look great, and if you have things that are missing, we have just a whole lineup of things to help students. We have extra ties, we have extra shirts, we have extra shoes, pants, dresses, you name it. We've thought of it, and we have it. If you know in advance that you need any of those things, please let us know, and we'll get that to you before that day. But if you forget something at home, you're wearing the wrong shirt, maybe it's not as ironed as you would have liked to, but we could switch it out. And that's why we have you all come here in the morning, so that we can get you all clean and ready to go. So we will leave here at 12:30. We will leave here at 12:30. If you are not on that bus, you don't get to meet us at the Bay Center and walk. You have to be here. Okay, as far as the dress attire, we ask that females wear a dress and dress shoes. You can wear pants also. For male graduates, wear dress pants, dress shirts, tie, and dress shoes. No jeans, no flip-flops, sandals, tennis shoes, or decorations on your graduation cap. And I emphasize that to seniors at their practice. And don't think that you're going to come here and have that little hat and we'll have an extra one. Just don't ruin that experience. It's a very formal occasion that everyone is waiting for. As far as the restrictions at the Bay Center, you are not to bring bags or purses to their graduation ceremony, only keys and a cell phone as far as the guests. No other items will be allowed. If you have medical requirements, let us know. Our teachers have their little pouches underneath their gowns. They'll keep those things for you. Otherwise, leave everything at home with your families. All seniors will enter through a magnetic screening machine. Are subject to search. Will not be allowed to bring those items in the Bay Center. At the conclusion of the ceremony, we ask that you exit immediately at the rear of the Bay Center and go directly to your vehicles. Of course, you'll be able to take pictures. Because we're in that middle ceremony, it's back to back with other schools. So they'll let you have some picture time, but you'll see quickly how the other schools and the students and the parents are coming in. And it's like, it's crazy as far as the traffic going into the parking lot and coming out of the parking lot. So we have that in between time, which makes it a little bit more difficult. So our goal, like we talked about, is for everyone to be able to participate. We emphasize with our seniors throughout today that we are literally going to be here on that weekend before, getting everything together calculating everything, making sure we have everything from every teacher as far as final grades, figuring out like our top 10, if we have that narrow top 10, like they're like right now by the 100th of the point at this point. It's super, super close. We really want to make sure that we look through everyone very carefully before we notify anyone that you're not walking. Ideally, we should know, and that's what we were telling our seniors today. Don't let that senior exam be that determining factor that you're graduating or not. That's just too slim. It's too close to graduation for that to be the deciding factor if you're graduating or not. Like we've got some seniors with borderline GPAs. If you have like a 2.0, it's really, really hard to go to the very end really not knowing. Parents are already calling and saying, hey, do I buy this gown? I'm like, buy the gown. Don't open it, but buy the gown. So just work with your seniors right now. Have them open up their focus. Have them show you their grades. Like honestly right now, and we're used to it. We're used to like at semester, waiting to the last minute and thinking that teachers are going to give you that grace, but it's a lot of students to do that in the last hour. For them to do that carefully, especially if that's the decision that's going to make or break your experience of being able to walk, the sooner the better, and you won't have to worry about it. You want to leave on the 16th without truly being your last day and us not seeing you until the breakfast on the 24th. Okay. Any questions about this portion? And you can process it, you can have those conversations, and certainly give us a call. We've been getting a lot of calls, a lot of emails, so we're certainly open to answering any of those questions, especially once May rolls around next week and you get closer and closer. But I think that we'll have more of our scores within the next week or so, and we'll be calling in those seniors to let them know that here we are, we've been everything, you just got to get your test grades, you're just looking at those final grades, and then they'll be ready to go. Yes, ma'am. Right, so we were talking to teachers. Absolutely, we were talking to teachers about that today. I don't think that's working. I can project. And so that's one of the things I asked the students to send me emails. Like if we're missing grades, we have a couple of classes where we still have, we don't have teachers in them. And so the teachers who are grading them know that our seniors right now, they need to know where they stand. And so that's very important. We had that conversation with the staff today. So you should be seeing them by next week. If you're not, just please like shoot me an email. The students shoot me an email. They do that regularly so we can keep up with that. We're looking at each of their grade books right now and asking teachers those same questions about we need these grades, we need these grades, we need these grades. Because seniors are our priority. All students are, but seniors for sure. Meeting that deadline and having them know where they stand in those classes is very important. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
When will they get the actual diploma?
They get them that next day. And so that's another thing, and I know that Mr. Franklin will talk about that too. We kind of hold those diplomas hostage for a little bit, and we will emphasize behavior. That's not the time to do flips. That's not the time to do a jig on the stage. That's not the time to cut up. And we hold that hostage for a reason. You get it eventually, but we make you anxious before you get it. But that's not the time to act like that, and they know that's a formal occasion, so you will get that the next day. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a number of guest limit?
No, ma'am. Any other questions? Now I'm all loud and projecting. Okay, I'll hand it over.
I'm Miss King. I'm going to go over the lengthy handout in the folder if you did not get to pick one up. We are recording this, and all of these handouts will be linked under this recording on our website. But it's the one that's back in front. I'm not going to go over it word for word, and Miss Ray did already touch on several of these things, and Mr. Franklin is going to follow up on a few more of them. But this pretty much goes over everything from today until the day they pick up their diplomas. So it's including senior honors night, baccalaureate, everything like that. So to begin, it is the seniors' responsibility to know their graduation requirements and if they've met those. We've had many, many meetings, and if you do have any questions like that, like Ms. Ray said, please set an appointment with administration or with Ms. Knight, because we don't want anyone to be surprised in the final hour. Ms. Gross is here tonight, who's by the door. After our meeting is over, she's going to be at this table, and we have papers with anyone that still owes fines. What may be surprising to some people is that you may still owe fines from an elementary library book or a middle school book that you checked out, and it's on there. So that is what we need you to have paid off before you graduate. It'll be listed, but if you do owe at another school, you do have to go to that school to pay for it. We can't take the money for Bellevue Middle or Beulah Middle or Lipscomb Elementary, okay? That is one of those things that does need to be taken care of by May 16th. The dress code was already kind of covered, but I'm going to stress the shoes a couple of times during this. And if you have any trouble getting any of these things, we are lucky enough to have our clothing closet and a lot of support for students who may need something nicer to wear at graduation. So please contact Ms. Jordan or myself or Ms. Ray if you're struggling to find any of these dress clothes that that is required for graduation. The cap and gown is going to be given out on May 16th. That is the seniors' last day. And after their final exams, we're going to bring them into the Innovation Center. We're going to collect any textbooks, their Chromebooks, and then we'll give them their cap and gown. Please make sure that if you think that you're someone who is in a little bit of danger of not knowing, but we should know by that day, don't open it up until we have guaranteed that with you. I'm not going to go over what they have to wear on this handout where it says the detachable collar. That's what we'll talk about with those seniors at graduation practice. But if you have any questions about that, please see me after this. Senior exams, the schedule is also in the folder that was given to you. They start on May 11th, and the last one is on May 16th because that weekend falls in between. If you have any questions about the rotation of that, please let us know. Senior breakfast is when we'll see them again, and that is going to be on May 24th. If they have purchased a ticket or paid their senior dues, they'll be allowed to attend the senior breakfast. So that will start at 9:30. At 10:30 is when we'll start graduation practice. On May 8th is baccalaureate, which is optional, but it is a non-denominational service that Calvary Baptist Church puts on for us every year. We'd like anyone who wants to attend to please be there by 5:30 because they like the seniors to all walk in together. The rest of us will be in the church waiting for them. Parents, friends, whoever wants to attend. Seniors can sit wherever they want that day, but if they could be there by 5:30 so they could get in line for that processional to come in and then just listen to what is shared with us. Inspirational for graduation. Last year it lasted about 45 minutes, but was really nice, and they had enough cookies to feed probably 1,000 people. So please come, and they're so happy to have us. Please enjoy that if you are welcome to. Graduation practice is a pretty big deal, so I'm going to read a lot of this one. It is May 24th. It is 10:30 is when we'll get started. The gym will already be set up, not exactly, but very much like the Bay Center is set up for them, in that they'll already be in order from the rooms that they've gone to. They'll be with the row usher, the adult who will be helping them at graduation. You have to be at graduation practice. It is mandatory. There are no exceptions. We had someone who came back last year from a college visit to make sure they were at graduation practice. If you don't come to graduation practice, you will not walk with us at the graduation ceremony. So please, like it says, set 3 alarms, have a friend call to wake you up, start your car and kick the tires the night before. We are not going to take any excuses for you missing that graduation practice. Failure to arrive on time kind of messes up our order and where we have everyone seated, so the same results are there. If you show up at 11, you're going to watch the graduation on YouTube or from the Civic Center seats. Like Miss Ray has already said, please make sure that you're here at the school. This is graduation practice. Make sure that if you are not coming to the breakfast, that you're here by 10, and then you have no excuse for being late. And we will start right at 10:30. So here's the shoes. It is recommended that both males and females wear the shoes on graduation practice day. A lot of times people get brand new shoes and then they're very uncomfortable for them on graduation day. We do a lot of walking that day. They walk in here when they're getting ready. They walk out to the buses. The buses cannot pull up to that Bay Center right by the door. Even last year in the pouring rain, our kids had to walk a little bit in the rain. It's a lot of walking. Then they're walking in the Bay Center to their seats. They're standing in line to have their name called. They're walking across the stage. And by the end of the day of that 1 hour ceremony, people's feet are killing them. And people are uncomfortable and they are not loving what they were wearing, and it's ruining that ceremony for them. So please, if you have heels or brand new shoes, try to break them in during graduation practice. Try to have them on a few days before that, because there's nothing worse than being uncomfortable on your graduation. Okay, so I know shoes, I'm stressing it, but we see it happen every year where someone is just miserable because they did not have shoes that felt comfortable throughout it. Graduation practice, we don't have parents at that. That's just the faculty. And again, you will have what is a grad image card to fill out. So parents, this is important. If you don't want it to be their email, make sure they know your email. The picture that they take when they walk off the stage, the card is going to be the information where that image is sent for you to choose to buy it or not. Okay, so we'll do that on graduation practice day and give all of them that the next day at graduation. But if you don't want the student's email to be on there, make sure they're aware of what your email is. Senior Honors Night is May 16th, and that is a great event. All seniors are invited to come, but the ones who are receiving honors will receive an invitation to know that they're getting an award that evening, but all seniors are welcome to come, and we love for them to be in their gowns. It's one of the first times everyone gets to see them walk in as a group and see how nice everyone looks in those bright blue royal gowns. We would like the seniors to be here no later than 5:30. They'll report to the senior commons, and we'll all walk in together. And we'll start that ceremony right at 6 o'clock. Graduation day, as Miss Ray said, we want you to be here by 10:30, no later. That time will fly by the time we get here and get everyone ready, check attendance, make sure grad image cards are right. It will feel like you're here for a couple hours, or you think it's gonna feel that way, and you're gonna feel like it was 20 minutes by the time everything that we need to do and we get on the buses. It's a really exciting time, and one of the last times you're gonna be with your senior class. So you do have to ride the bus, as Miss Ray said. They're air conditioned, they're big. We make sure that you're not crowded, double seated on there. We will all walk into the Bay Center together, but please make sure you don't have the following things. You can't have your cell phone. You can't have a purse, any kind of bag. You will go through a magnetic, a screener. So anything that would make that buzz, they're not gonna allow you to have in. So that does slow that line down a little bit, which is a whole nother reason for the comfortable shoes. So please make sure that if you have those items that you're letting a family member have them, or if you have something small, all of your row ushers, the teacher who will be with you carries like a fanny pack to shove some things in there if you do forget. You are responsible for the dress code, and if you don't show up in dress code, we, like I said, have the clothing closet, but if we don't have an option that you want to wear, you won't be able to walk in the graduation, and we do expect the best behavior, but Mr. Franklin's really going to talk about that with you. Project graduation is that evening at Splash City. It is $75. We would like everyone to have that paid if they want to attend by May 9th. If you have any questions, please see Ms. Gilliam. Every year we've had a great time. We do half of the time in the water park and then give everyone time to change, and then we do half of the time with the go-karts and the roller coasters and the rides. So we are there from 11 until 5, and then we bring everyone back here on the bus. On May 26th is when we'll be open at 10 for them to pick up their diplomas. And if there are any other questions now about all of these details, let me know. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, ma'am. Monday. We have it all ready to go. We've printed the postcards today, so we're sending everything out on Monday. Yes, ma'am. Can you say that again? No particular color for ties. And most of the time, they only see really that top part of it anyway because of the gown. So, yes, ma'am. They do not have to ride the bus back, but we always have a bus there if someone does need to ride it back, and we always have students who use it. So we probably take 10 to 12 buses there, but one always sits and waits for any senior who does need a ride back. So they don't have to, we don't expect that, but there is that option if that's needed. Thank you, I forgot to mention that. Yes, you can have that. That's why, yeah, the students can't have it during the graduation ceremony. Can you what? Seniors won't be allowed to bring anything like that into the graduation ceremony, but like you can bring your camera if you have a nice regular camera instead of a cell phone. I know a lot of people have really nice cameras, so you can bring that, yes, sir. Okay, I'll be here afterwards if you have any other questions about any of these different events. I know sometimes that's a particular thing for a particular event, but I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Franklin.
Good evening. I'm pretty short and sweet. We got a few events coming up that's going to recognize our seniors. Number one, first thing's coming up is prom this weekend. Just make sure that you just please preach safety with your students this Saturday. This is getting ready to come up. I know everybody, if you are participating, if your children are participating in it, then make sure that you talk about safety when we get there, expectations of behavior while we're there. Obviously, leading into graduation is going to be another thing. Last year, there were a couple of students when they got up to the actual accept those diplomas that made some gestures that weren't becoming of certain schools. So we want to make sure that we're going to express and talk about those things. So we want to make sure that you talk to your kids about once they get up there, the only expectation is that we shake hands, keep it moving, no dancing, no gestures, no inappropriate gestures, or anything of that nature. So we want to make sure that we're going to stress it here at the school, but also make sure that you stress it with your kids at home. Project graduation, once you're there, we want to make sure that we're on our best behavior there as well too, expressing to them the safety of that, not leaving. Are they allowed to leave at any time during project graduation? So they're not allowed to leave once they come. They're there with us until 5 o'clock. So we want to make sure that safety is first. Nobody's allowed to leave there whatsoever. We'll have all the security and safeguards set in place, but of course, you know, when you're dealing sometimes with 18 and 19-year-olds, they can be pretty crafty. So we want to make sure that if your kids are participating in project graduation, that you stress to them that once you're there, and we want to make sure that we're on our best behavior. Just can't stress enough, I'm looking forward to the upcoming events for our seniors. So we want to make sure that our behavior, which they have been doing a pretty good job for the most part this year, but we don't want to be the school that has that exception. We want this process to go as smoothly as possible. As obviously we're on the time, so I know one of the biggest things I learned last year dealing with high school was two things that we have to make sure that we do, that the district is big on. Number one, that's finishing in a timely fashion. So making sure that your kids are there on time when we finish in a timely fashion. And number two, make sure that we're on our best behavior. Those were the two biggest things that I heard from our directors last year. So we want to make sure that we stress those things to our students to make sure that we're not the exception in high school, that the district won't be disappointed in. But I know we won't, okay, because they've been doing a great job this year, so we want to continue doing that right thing. That's really all I have as far as expectations and behavior. If any questions from me, then I'll make sure I stick around, and then we're going to pass it on to Mama Knight.
Good evening, everyone. I am Miss Ty Knight. I am the senior counselor. I see a lot of you that we speak often with, so it's good to see you all. I just have a few things. If you could ask your seniors to check the class of 2023 Google Classroom in their email at least once a day. A lot of important reminders are going to be coming out. If you have any individual questions about your senior status as of today, please feel free to email me or give me a call, and we can make an appointment and go over that for you individually. So I look forward to seeing you all soon in a couple of weeks.
Real quick, if we could do just a round of applause for Miss Knight being a senior counselor. It's been a long journey, and I know that she cares very much individually for students. We held an event yesterday, and we did a college signing day for all of our seniors who had been awarded scholarships and acceptance to colleges. We wanted to make sure we made a big deal out of that occasion, just like we do for our athletic signings, and it was just a very emotional occasion, just to see how excited they were about this journey, to know that, in just a few weeks that they're going to be heading on to greener pastures, so to speak, that they're ready to soar. So I feel that they're just prepared for that next step. I know as parents and guardians, and that's a little bit hard to see your babies fly, but believe me, they're ready. They've worked extremely hard, and if you think about our seniors right now and everything that they've endured in these 4 years, from starting out as freshmen, being home for a year and a half, and then coming back and have to resume a sense of normalcy, they really have conquered so much. I mean, we're so proud of them. I know that you all are too. We really want to make this experience one that's a memory of a lifetime. So we're super excited about our partnership that we've had with you all. We've had great senior meetings. We've held a number of meetings individually with some parents, so they had some of those questions about those graduation requirements and everything that we've done or is still trying to do to make sure the students do graduate. So they've been very heartfelt conversations. We've had some students who aren't with us anymore because of those conversations, just because if you're, those options are just very hard. It's a very hard thing to accomplish. I don't think that anyone takes this experience lightly and everything that they've worked for to accomplish it. So we're gonna continue to have open conversations with you all. Let us know if you have any questions, and moving forward, you will definitely know before the 24th if you are walking or not. Yes, ma'am. Right, so we have a number of faculty that are going to be there, and we have our SROs are going to be there as well. So we have people at every station. Adults will be there. It will be chaperoned throughout the entire time, and no one will be able to come in after 9 o'clock. It begins at 7:30, but we will have eyes in all places. We have people in front of the restrooms, people outside on the patio because it's at the country club. They have access to the pavilion outside. We'll have teachers staged there. We have a police officer outside near the parking lot. Some of it will be blocked off. We have some people who aren't able to go, so we want to make sure that they don't enter if they were unable to attend the prom. So it's going to be very secure. And so we emphasize even to students, don't allow that to be a time. You haven't messed up all year. Don't make the prom experience be that time where you want to make a bad choice. We've had students in the last week not being able to participate in graduation because either they made a poor choice at a prom event or an in-school event. Like, we've had people to be out of school suspension and think you're still able to walk. Like, you've done so well to make it to this point. Don't let a impulsive move, ruin that experience, because it's 2 days before graduation and something happens, you're still not graduating. And that would be a shame. And I'm not just saying this happens every year. Every year. So we're emphasizing to students and families, you can certainly continue to encourage your student. You can't be with them 24/7, but just remind them that We just don't have the opportunity to play with anything like that as far as safety measures and those expectations. So, any other questions? Yes, Miss Ma'am, I'm sorry. Absolutely. We just need to know ahead of time. I mean, if you need to keep that on your person, like an inhaler, certainly that's something that you do. You already have the form to do that at school. But if you have that, we just need to know, like, safety measures. We have a teacher that will be assigned to students in groups. And so we just need to know that ahead of time so we can be looking out for that. We always communicate with Miss Cindy, too, our nurse. She always helps us, too. Like, remember the student needs this. And then we'll let that teacher who's assigned to that group remind them of those things that we need to watch for. But if you have an inhaler, you should be able to keep that on your person. If you have like anaphylactic shock, we need to make sure we have an EpiPen nearby. All of those things we just need to know ahead of time so that we can be prepared should your student not be able to be prepared in that moment. Okay. Any other questions? We're going to be here, so if you want to ask us individually, you certainly can. But thank you all for being here. You all have been excellent partners throughout this time, so continue to ask us questions as needed, and we appreciate you this evening.